Hello, welcome to Math Fun and Games. Keith here. We're continuing with our play of all the PanzerBlitz, Panzer and Arab Israeli War scenario. I'm currently doing the second situation in PanzerBlitz. We have the Germans and the Russians. The Russians' victory conditions. The Russians start from the north. They're headed south. The level of victory depends on how far south they go at the end of 10 turns. We're on turn 7. If they go up to the first line, H, they get a marginal victory. If they go up to KL, if they go up to line L, they get a tactical victory. And if they go up to line R, they get a decisive victory. The Germans get points for eliminating Russian units. So far, the Germans at turn 7 have eliminated 7 Russian units. They need 10 eliminated units to get a marginal victory, 20 eliminated Russian units to get tactical victory, and 30 eliminated Russian units to get a decisive victory. Considering the fact that the Russians only start with 32 units, it's very difficult for the Germans to get a decisive victory. So the Germans are going to go first. We have the minefield phase. There are no mines. Now we have the fire phase. In the last turn, the Russians were able to disperse. So I'm going to start with the center board this time. In the last turn, the Russians, for those of you who are looking at the board right now, maybe doing what I do, which is listening to videos. The middle board is an open plain. There's one dominant hill line, there's one town, and that's the main play area. There is further south are rivers, there's a river and a lake, but that's basically out of play. If the Russians reach that point, then that's way beyond a decisive victory for the Russians, and the Russians can't move that fast because the Russians' forces are really made up of infantry units. So the Russians to the German in the center board, 2 German armor units are dispersed. The Russians have an armor unit on top of the dominant hill position in the center board. They also have 1, 2, 3. They have 3 platoons of infantry. Is that a platoon? That's a platoon. No, that's a company. 3 companies of infantry coming in at the top of the hill. The Russians have the Russians have a self-propelled gun. Next to that hill, the Russians have an infantry unit, a half-track unit, and also on the center board, the Russians have a mortar. I'm going to check the Russians' distance. Next to one of the armored units, I believe it's a Panzer IV or Panzer V. The Russians have 2 infantry units which are holding that Panzer unit down in close combat and keeping it dispersed. A mortar here, which has 15 attack factors. And this hex, the Russian units have 24 defense factors. However, further on down, there's a Russian mortar unit, and together they have 6 defense factors. And the German has 15 attack factors, so that'll be 15 to 6. That'll be 2 to 1 odds. Mortar against mortar, so I'm going to take that shot. Because before these 2 Russian mortars were able to disperse one of the vehicles. Take the roll. The roll of 4. It's 2 to 1 on the 4. 2 to 1 on the 4. That is a dispersal. That's a good thing for the Germans. Mark it. Mark that dispersed. Meanwhile, that mortar right there is fired. Very good. So these, I don't think there's any other fire possibilities. There's a rifle and a half track next to that Russian self-propelled gun on a hill, but because they're firing uphill, it would be 1.5. They only have 2.5 to 9. It's a 1 to 4 chance. Let's take a look at the odds. Yeah, no, they couldn't have effective fire. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move. Well, okay, so that's the fire face for the. Now I'm going to go to the western board. The western board is mainly hills and woods. Let's see, where do we want to fire over here? It's really a bad situation over here. So this infantry is firing up a hill. So you have a mortar unit, a powerful mortar unit on top of the hill. Has 24 firepower. It's been dispersed for most of the game. The Germans have been close assaulting with an infantry unit. I'm thinking of just doing a combined attack. I'm going to take a break and look this over. I want to check something. So, on a major hill here, we have a self-propelled gun, an attack factor of 12. We have 2 units coming up slope after it. Weapons effectiveness, armor against infantry, half firepower. So that would be a 12 against a 16. That'd be a 6 against a 16. That'd be a 1 to 3 odds. I'd only have a 1 in 6 chance of having an effective hit there. That's not good. That unit's got to skedaddle. So that unit's not going to fire. And I can do an overrun attack over here against that mortar on the other hill. How about, well, I have a half track there, and I have a half track here. So I have 2 half tracks on that hill plus a mortar unit. So I can get an attack of 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can have a 3 to 1 attack just through regular firepower. I don't even have to use the infantry. So that's what I'm going to do. Move the infantry out of the way. It's going to have to mark the units to fire. So 2 to 1 attack. I'm going to mark that unit fired. Fired and mark fire. I'm going to roll. 1 attack, no modifiers, a 3. 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, 3, so that's a heavy dispersal. Excellent. Okay. That attack worked well. The Germans. Now we're going to go to the easternmost map board. So next to the hill, between the swamp and the top of the hill, situated on a slope, are 2 half tracks in a rifle platoon. They are facing 2 companies of guard units on top of a hill, plus a company of guard units on the slope next to them, blocked by a ridge. So they are going to pull back when, well, they're not going to fire, basically. They're not going to fire. I actually want them to pull back. That's it for the fire phase. I'm going to start in the center for the movement phase. this truck is going to place the armor gun in a position where it can fire upon that self-propelled gun on the hill. And this armor, it's going to be half. I want a half range less. An advantage of that armor gun has a range of 6. The unit on the hill only has a range of 5. So if I have to put that 3 X's away, 1, 2, 3, I will have double firepower against that armor on the hill, but they will not have double firepower against me. I'm checking the effects chart for the vehicle's movement. Clear trucks. Costs 2 movement points for truck center that clears. So we're going to use the road for the first X. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and unload. All right, so how about this armor on that hill right there? How about that infantry and that half track? How can I use that? That's the question. They're going to stay in place. The reason being is if next turn that armor, my anti-armor, my 75mm anti-armor can take that rush and half Pelican off the hill, they'll be there to move onto the top of that hill. So I'm going to keep them in the same position right now. So infantry, I'm going to keep in the same position. I also have a half track. What am I going to do with the half track? I'm going to keep that half track there. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the half track out. I'm going to move the half track to the woods, where they'll be safe. They can hide in the woods. Okay. That's it for all possible movement on the center board, the southern board. I have an infantry unit. Infantry is going to go to this town and maybe be able to give these armored vehicles some help. In fact, I'm going to put that right on the same half as the armored vehicles. The Germans can stack 3 high. Next, these units right here are going to go to the top of the right. So on the slope of the hill, I'm on the easternmost board now. On the slope of the hill, I have an infantry platoon and 2 half-track sets. So one of the half-track sets is going to go up onto the hill. With the infantry of the half-tracks, it's kind of going to be a sacrificial, and it's going to stay on the slope in the blocking position for the, well, I'm actually going to move it back. We'll move it back 1. It's still in the blocking position. And that's it for movement. So let's go for movement. I'm ready to move for the west board. Now I'm going to do an overrun attack. It's going to be, this tank is going to go 1, overrun, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the overrun, and then I'll have 4 movement points left. Step 14. 14 to 3, but that 14 is half 7, so it'll be 2 to 1. Minus 2. The overrun, and it'll be 4. So that'll be a dispersal. Unfortunately, it's not a double dispersal. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so armor is half attack factor. So that would be a 14 to 3 attack. And 6 becomes 4. So that's just a regular dispersal, so it does not eliminate that. So 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I want to keep it right there, because then it can do another overrun attack. It has back to take. Now, this unit's in the woods. So the armor unit, the self-look gun on the other hill. It can move. Where do I want to move it to? That's a question. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, and still can move. 5. It's going to stop there. It just wants to get out of the line of sight of those Russians. Hopefully the Russians make a stupid move and they allow themselves to be on open terrain. I also have that truck. It's going to, well, it's going to wait there right now. Oh, so that's a movement phase. So now we're going to start on the westernmost map and do close assaults. So the hill where the dispersed mortar is, you have a mortar and a wagon. It's a wagon. The total defense is 3. I have 2 infantry units. One of them is on slope though, so it's half. So it's going to be 3. It's going to be 4. They have to combine. It's going to be 4 to 3. So it's going to be a 1-to-1 -2 attack. I rolled a 2. A 4 becomes a 2. That's just a dispersal. Oh, but subtract 1 from die roll. Subtract 1 from die roll from attacks against dispersion. So that actually 4 minus 3 becomes a 1. 1-to-1, that's the DD, which is a double dispersal. So that actually takes it up. So what happened was it was a 1-to-1 attack, -2 for the close assault, but that's -1 because the unit was attacking was dispersed. So that eliminates them. And they go to the KA box. And the Germans finally take that hill. And that also eliminates 9 Russian units. Okay. All right, so I checked and there is no automatic advance after close assault. Now I'm going to go to the east board. Are we doing the Russian? Yeah, we're doing the German turn. So now we're going to do the east board. So both these vehicles are dispersed. But you have a rifle company in that hex right now. A rifle platoon in that hex. And there's another recon company right outside that hex that defends the force. I would be attacking 2-1 -2 if I were to close assault that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a close assault. 2-1. I mean 1-2 -2. 3-4 becomes 1-2 -2. So I roll a 2 on a 1-2 and dispersal. That helps because that's 1 unit now that's not going to be able to close assault those tanks in the village. So that one infantry with those tanks helps things quite a bit down here. We have one infantry, 3 firepower against 36 defense points. But that ain't happening. So that's going to be it for the Russian phase. At the German phase. So now we're going to go into the Russian phase, turn 7. Field attacks. Now we're going to do the fire phase. I'm looking at the west map board first. There's a howitzer over here. I don't think it has line of sight to that armored vehicle. If it did have line of sight, it would be attacking 1 to 4. So that there's no fire on the westernmost board, the hill and forest board. Now the center board, and this is a key situation right here. Question is, was this unit, the self-propelled gun on the top of this hill, the predominant hill in the open playing board, was that going to fire at? Thing is, it only has a range of 5. So one of the real pains in the sides of the Russians is that mortar unit, but that is more than 5 X's away, so he can't fire on that. There is that armor unit, and that armor unit can cause him all kinds of problems. So if he fires on the armor unit and just the armor unit, that armor gun, I mean, 75mm armor, if he fires on that, it's going to be a 6 to 1. So it's going to be a certain elimination. It's going to be a 6 to 1. There's going to be an elimination. It'll be 12 against 2. Matter of fact, if he fires at the armor unit of the truck, it'll be 12 to 3. So either way, it's going to be 4 to 1 odds. That's an automatic elimination. So he's going to fire and take out that armor unit. That armor unit was really the one big threat. So maybe what I should have did at the beginning of American Empire, so maybe for the German player, what I should have did was have those 2 anti-armor guns set up in that field and separate hexes, and that were the same hex actually, and but have both set up, and then that unit on top of the hill will be able to take out one, but probably not take out the other. All right, so they fired. The only other possible fire would be this infantry over here, who are right next to this armor unit. I believe they'd be doing that in lieu of a later close assault. They're right off on the close assault, so they're going to leave it. Well, yeah. Mainly because infantry against armor is 2 to 1. Infantry against armor. Well, they can only do close assault anyway, so. That's all the fire in the center board. Now the big mesa board with the little hill board there in the little hill and in the fort town. Fire, nope. Those guard units are much better at close assault than they are at fire. So that's it for the fire phase. For the movement phase, this year guard unit's going to move up along the slope. That's the only movement on the easternmost board, the central board. We have these infantry coming up to fight for this hill, position on the hill. Forward 1, forward 1. right here against that armor unit. They're going to stand fast to disperse that. Now, Germans are going to get at least one armor unit freed up next turn, which is good. And finally, the last area for movement. These units are going to go up on the hill. And that unit, Russian unit, is going to go in the woods right there, just for defensive purposes. We have Russian units coming up on the side next to the swamp. There's a swamp on the westernmost board. And there's Russian units going along the side of it, making their way into the play area. What's that main group going to do? Okay. There's a mortar. So what they can actually, well, the infantry is going to move up right there. Now to prevent the close assault, I'm going to move this other infantry right behind it on the road. So that eliminates the possibility of a close assault, because you have to have the hex immediately behind it free. However, there's that forward hex. So there may be a close assault against, I mean, there may be an overrun against one of those hexes, but not a biggie. And that mortar unit's going to go one forward. That's it for movement. Do you have any close assaults in the west? Western. Your defense factor right here, move that forward. So the defense factors, you have an infantry unit on a slope. And it defends at 8 and 4, 12, so 5 to 12 would be 1 to 3 minus 2. So 1, 2, or 3 would result in dispersal. I'm going to check the rule on defending on a slope. Oh yeah, if you're next to a hex that's defending on a slope, I don't think there are any penalties for you. So that will make it 5 to 12. It'll be a 1 to 3 attack. It'll be minus 2. So 1, 2, or 3 will disperse those units. They are going to do a close assault. 5 minus 2 is 3. No effect. That's it for all the activity on the westernmost board. We did the center board. Now we're going to do the south board, close assaults. This is the key close assault right here. So you have an engineer and a rifle company. They're going to be attacking in the city 2 armor units and a rifle platoon. The defenders have attack factors of 28. So that would be 6 to 28. 6 times 4 is 24. That would be less than a 1 to 4 odds. Can you do less than a 1 to 4 odds? I'm going to check. Okay, so you cannot do attacks at worse than 1 to 4 odds. So those units in that town cannot do a close assault against those armor units in the rifle company. So Germans are in a little bit better shape than I thought they would be there because of that infantry coming up. Germantown's vulnerable infantry comes up, and infantry can help defend. Now here's where a big attack is coming. So they're both on slopes. And this will be a 6-4 attack, a 1-to-1 -2 attack. And on top of the hill, you have a platoon of rifle platoon and a half track. They're defending at 12. The attack will be 12. It'll be a 1-to-1 -2. But you're in woods. It's going to be a 1-to-1 -1. So this is going to be a 1-to-1 attack. These two guard. It looks like two guard companies against rifle platoon and half track. It's going to be a 1-to-1 attack with a -1 modifier. So it's going to be 2, 1-to-1, 2. As a roll to 3, 3 becomes a 2. It'll be a dispersal on that infantry unit and that half track. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to have a 1-to-1 attack against this half track right here. This attacking 6, defending 4, so it's going to be 1-to-1 -2. They're both on slopes. That'll be a 1. So that will be 3 -2 as well, so that will also be a dispersal. Okay, so check that rule since they're both on the same elevation and there's no brown hex side, or in this case, orange hex side between them. There is no halving of the attack factors. So that's going to be a 1-to-1 -2, and that is going to be a dispersal. And that is it. I'm going to pull, look at the overview right here. Okay, so how far have the Russians gotten? So that's the end of the turn. We're going to go into turn 8 now. 7, 2,